Welcome to the page 14 annotation video. Go ahead and circle page 14 for me. All right. On another visit, he gave me a small, round, flat, rawhide drum decorated with a painting of a warrior riding a horse. Look at all these back-to-back adjectives. Adjective, 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 drum, decorated with a warrior riding a horse. Right? Why would we get all these adjectives? Well, number one, we want it to be accurate. We want it to be authentic. And this, accordioning of adjectives shows that there's a special attention to a particular object that comes from this culture. Decorated with a painting of a warrior riding a horse. He taught me a Lakota chant to sing while I beat the drum with a leather-covered stick that had a feather on the end. More attention to detail, accuracy, and authenticity are at play. Man, that really made an impression, right? So this seems to be different than the TV Indian, right? Than the TV Indian, in the sense that this seems to be lived experience of traditional culture. It's TV, right? Versus actually dancing and playing the drum and chanting, right? And which does the author Sneeve seem to prefer? This one, not preconceived notions or glib notions or trite notions of what it means to be a Native American. We never showed our friend's grandpa's picture. Uh-oh. There's friends again. Friends seem to be so important in this story to the main character. Even though he's saying our friends, I feel sometimes that the real emphasis is his, capital H, capital I, capital S, friends. That's not to say that friends aren't important, but rather I think if he's this way at the beginning of the story, I wonder if he'll stay that way the entire time. It's not likely. Not that we were ashamed of him. Well, the fact that you say that means that there is some sort of embarrassment. But because we knew that the glamorous tales we told didn't go with the real thing, our friends, oh gosh, there they are again, would have laughed. Oh, even worse. So the focus here isn't quite what the author, the first person narrator rather, or speaker is telling us. So when Grandpa came to visit us, I was so ashamed and embarrassed I could have died. Not a good look, narrator. I think his name is Martin. There are a lot of yippy poodles and other fancy dogs in our neighborhood, right? So this seems like the type of neighborhood that would go with the idea of TV Indians, right? Yippy poodles. One would not expect to find such domesticated, little yappy, awful dogs and fancy dogs, right? Fancy here is not a great thing. Little dogs in our neighborhood, they usually bark singly at the mailman from the safety of their own yards. Now it sounded as if a whole pack of mutts were barking together in one place. I walked to the curb to see what the commotion was. About a block away, I saw a crowd of little kids yelling, with the dogs yipping and growling around someone who was walking down the middle of the street. Well, we have yippy, and we have yipping, and we have to go tisk, tisk, to the author for not really using a different word there. Come on now. Around someone who's walking down the middle of the street. Right? Our natural question here would be, who is that? but based on all the things that we've been reading up to this point, we can probably make an educated guess. I watched the group as it slowly came closer and saw that in the center of the strange procession was a man wearing a tall black hat. He paused now and then, and it's something in his hand, and then the houses on either side of the street. So if he's peering at something in his hand, and then he's looking at houses, part of me thinks that he's probably looking for an address number. Right? That's called an inference that I made. I took the context clues. I took the fact that you have to sometimes look at a piece of paper because you might not remember the precise address. Boom. And then the house on the other side of the street. I felt cold and hot at the same time. I recognized the man. Oh no, I whispered, it's Grandpa. I stood on the curb, unable to move, though I wanted to run and hide. Come on now, buddy. Then I got mad when I saw how the yippy dogs, oh, there it is again, were growling and nipping at the old man's baggy pant legs, and how wearily he poked them away with his cane. Notice wearily poked, right? This is an adverb, right? Poked in a tired way. Get away, dogs, get away. When I kicked and hollered at the dogs, stupid mutts, I said as I ran to rescue Grandpa. When I kicked and hollered at the dogs to get away, they put their tails between their legs, which is might be an accurate description, but it's also a cliche. Let's do better. Writer. And scattered. The kids ran to the curb where they watched me and the old man. Grandpa, I said, and reached for his beat-up old tin suitcase tied shut with rope. But he set it down right in the street and shook my hand. How, Tokoza, grandchild, he greeted me formally in Lakota, right? If he were to greet him informally, he might say something like, hey, which would be very informal. All I could do was stand there with the whole neighborhood watching and shake the hand of the leather-brown man. I saw how his gray hair straggled from under his big black hat, which had a drooping feather in its crown. All right, pay attention to this drooping feather. It's going to come back later, right? So there's the hat, there's the feather. Oh, it's drooping. Oh, not a good look, Grandpa, not a good look. All right, there it is. Oh. His rumpled black suit hung like a sack over his stooped frame, and as he shook my hand, his coat fell open to expose a bright red satin shirt with a beaded bolo tie under the collar. His get-up wasn't out of place on the reservation, but it sure was here, and I wanted to sink right through the pavement. Right? Get-up is a pretty disrespectful word. Right? You wouldn't want to go to a priest and say, what's this get-up? What's that white thing doing around here now? What's that scapular, right? And this is the character's conflict that keeps coming up again and again. So part of me thinks that this is an important conflict, right? In this case, the conflict being friends versus family. Classic growing up problem.